What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to Warhammer 40k Orc Marines. What we're going to be doing today is, actually I think probably finishing the game up. It seems to me as though we're kind of at that point in the storyline where like serious things are happening, and every few moments I feel as though we're probably going to die very, very shortly. I feel like we've picked up a lot of the power-ups that are even in the game to be used. Let's backtrack a tad, because I do feel as though I need to get some more weaponry. Our bolter is completely and totally out of bullets. Our las cannon's looking okay, as is our stalker bolter. I need to get back used. It's been a day or two since I played last. Recording these in batches affords me time to record other series in batches, and then I've got like this weird system that mathematically works out somehow. It's amazing working in threes. Down and in here, it appears as though we have the forces of Khorne or Tzeentch or some. I think those are Khorne demons, which are not demons that are hiding out in your corn patch waiting to annihilate you. Or they're not demons that are hiding in your dinner bowl. No, indeed, they are demons that appear to be just completely and totally consumed with rage, malice, murder, and all of those other wondrous talents that you seem to find among the forces of chaos. And they also seem to be pretty resilient. That thing's got a hard chin on it. Luckily, that orc's tanking for us, so I don't feel like we need to deal with it. Kill all those guys off, and I want to keep an eye out for ammunition right now, because the Emperor has not been so forthcoming with ammunition. I'm going to get in here and just slice him up, because I do feel as though he's kind of trying to make a run on me, and I don't like that. You don't make a pass at me unless I'm feeling, you got to at least buy me a drink first, and it's got to be a stiff one, like none of that lager type stuff. Really, if you want to get the ice nice and kind of melted over, if you want to get like you want to be the Zamboni to the social experience, if you want to be the Zamboni, be the Zamboni. Feel the Zamboni. If you want to be the Zamboni, I think it's going to at least take an amber ale, and right now, I don't see a glass, and so I'm going to get up in that ass. You, sir, are just running around too much. You're being too spry. It's too early in the morning.
Keep moving.
Well, of course we're going to have to keep moving if we want to get to the exit. It's over there and we're over here. Just speaking in terms of positional awareness, there's going to be some movement involved. Stop being redundant, sir. Oh good, a loading screen from the Emperor.
It's getting bigger. If it gets much larger, Emerald can bring his fleet through.
Then we must cut the link between Warp Gate and Tower.
You have a plan.
We use Invictus to sever the orbital spire.
At that range, will the Titan's cannon be effective?
It's time we use the power source to our advantage. To supercharge Invictus, we need to reach that Titan.
I like how his lips don't match what's being said. He's just like, nom, 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 nom. Sometimes I feel like I just chew on the English language, and that's the only way I get it out. Every now and again, when you get stuck in the middle of a sentence, you just get that horrible feeling as though you've forgotten where you're moving. It's like when you're driving somewhere and you forget what you're... If you have, like, errands to run and you just forget where you're at. You're in the middle of the highway, just, which exit did I need? Damn, I live here, and I'm already forgetting what I'm supposed to be doing. This is terrible. Drop through the pipe! And so down on into the Emperor's pipe, because that's where we want to be. As Space Marines, we are just all about the Emperor's pipe. That is like the thing that gets us going in the morning. If we can just serve the Emperor's pipe and be as near to it as possible, you'll know that you're a Space Marine. Orcs, we orc players have no such obsession with the Emperor. We tend to run along. It's more an obsession with wanton violence and just being noisy. And I think that's why I'm the kind of guy that finger taps on the table. And so I think that's really kind of... It's either endemic or it's emblematic of orc players. Like, do you tap your fingers on the table and do you make a lot of noise?
Benjamin, something terrible has happened. Your mother, my Juliet, we got caught in an orc ambush. They called it your sister. She was screaming, and your mother threw herself at them. They laughed, Benjamin.
So, a demon killed Inquisitor Drogon and then possessed his body.
Hannah,
But why?
your mother...
Alone, there was no way the demon could get the power source past 1 million orcs. It needed help.
And we obliged.
Find...
I was deceived. I am responsible for chaos breaking through to this world.
That's right, it's your fault, man. It is your fault, Scarhead, and so it's time for you to make it right. Ooh, Scarscalp, that's even better. Scaralp. I'm trying to think of a better nickname for him, but really throughout this entire playthrough I haven't had one. I like nicknaming things, and ooh, Thunderhammer. Hello. Please join my inventory. The Iron Halo. Oh, cool. This ancient artifact generates a personal energy shield that greatly reinforces the resiliency of the Space Marine using power armor, allowing them to weather even the fiercest of attacks. Iron halos are so rare that only Ultramarines captains and company champions are authorized to use them. I think we're being a little chapter specific there. And let me guess, the second they give me a new shield, they're going to give me a bunch of stuff to test it against. I don't really care because I've got a Thunder Hammer, and having a Thunder Hammer is really one of those morale-boosting activities. Like, it doesn't matter what else happens in life, I have a Thunder Hammer. If I had a Thunder Hammer every day... Oh, there's one. I knew they were going to hide one back in the crevice.
On that fateful journey through the war, in my exhausted musings, I let my guard down, something a psyker should never do. My desire, my psychic will, reached out into the warp, and the warp reached back. A spark of warp energy appeared before me, tentative, flickering, and powerful. I felt it batter my psychic shields. My shock was absolute.
Ultramarines, attack!
On the plus side, his shield will now be both crispy and tasty. Oh, and you thought something was going to happen right there, Orc. You thought you were going to get away with it. Oh, and shoulder slammed. I do like the way that my shield bar has a different color now, too. That makes me pretty happy. Oof, we're getting hit with plasma from somewhere, so I need to find where that's... Hey, what you doing there, pal? What are you doing? Oh, there's a Chaos Space Marine over there. That's a bigger issue. So Chaos Space Marines, I talked about this in the previous episode, so we'll be doing a little bit of warp. So there was a bunch of Space Marines, and like, let's see if I want to execute a... Hell yeah. That's the way I like to do it. So anyways, the Empire was doing its thing in space one day. The Emperor was ruling and kind of conquering galaxies and protecting us all from all the terrible things that hide out there in the warp and all those other planets and those terrible Xenos for being different than us. We've decided to kill them. And at a certain point, one of the Emperor's legionaries, Horus, who was a Primarch. If you don't know what a Primarch is, the markers used by the Primarch when he wants to make his colorful drawings. The Primarchs are the leaders of Space Marine chapters, and they were created with the actual genes of the Emperor, so they're basically his children in a certain respect. I'm just going to have to execute him like so, because unfortunately I can't get up there to execute. Don't try and point blank me with a plasma gun. And so the Primarchs in general are pretty cool. Like, you've got Rowboat Girly Man, you've got a couple of the other ones, you've got Volcan, I think, is the name of one of them. I don't really remember all the names, I play orcs. So in any case, you've got the Space Marines, and things are going pretty well, the Imperium's dominating in space, and then one day, one of the Emperor's children, Horus, decides that he's going to break off and be a dick, and decides that he wants to be like the universal badass. And so there's a civil war in the middle of the Empire, with Horus leading the bad guys, and the Emperor leading the good guys, and about 50% of all of the Space Marines pick different sides, and that's what Chaos Space Marines are. The Chaos Space Marines are the ones that went with the powers of the warp and the powers of evil and chaos and all the demons that are out there in the warp, and decided to gain their...
Duty requires that I put voice to my concerns.
Speak, then.
You held the unshielded power source again, Captain. And again, you emerged from the exposure unscathed. Codex Astartes warns that those in league with Chaos can withstand the warp's touch.
You forget yourself, Ultramarine.
Leandros, I do not take this warp resistance lightly. But the search for answers must wait until after we deal with this Chaos invasion.
What if that is too late?
Leandros, enough. We need to keep moving.
As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by main quest dialogue. So you have this civil war, and so essentially the Ultramarines are kind of, or I guess if you go, let's just talk about the Space Marines are genetically modified. They're pretty much like the ultimate badasses when it comes to killing stuff. I'll get that in just a second. And then the Chaos Space Marines have all of that and a bag of chips, meaning they get a bunch of like satanic powers essentially too from all the demons of the warp, depending on who they follow. There's Khorne, there's Tzeentch, there's Nurgle, there's Slaanesh. All of them. Nurgle is the kind of demon of disease and pustules and all kinds of nastiness. We'll do it after this.
Send a runner to the depot at position Alpha. Let's go.
You're not leading this raid.
Of course I am.
Lieutenant, we need you in one piece. Let's face it, you're holding us together out here, and if you get...
Alright, so that ended sort of abruptly. But anyways, we'll do this after. That's if I only know, if I could only tell you how many dates it ended disappointed like that. But anyways... So essentially, Chaos Space Marines are actually sort of more badass than normal Space Marines just because they get all kinds of crazy powers and shit. So don't quote me on that. I don't play any of these factions. I'm sort of talking out of my ass right now. It's never something that I've done literally no research on Chaos. It's just one of those things that, like, I know who they are, I know what they represent, but I've never played them. I don't have any of their codices. I have Orc codices, I have Space Marine codices, I have Imperial Guard codices. So I know a lot of the lore behind those armies, but I never got around to reading anything really about Chaos other than the fact that most of them are crazy as hell. Are those Chaos Guardsmen? What's going on over here? Yeah, those are Chaos Guardsmen. Either that or cultists, one or the other, or, you know, one turned into the other. God. Let's go ahead and give them some grenades because I'm feeling like this situation isn't going to end well for me. Or at least get in here and start fighting with the Thunderhammer. Ah, they're so resilient to damage. If I could just get my shields back up, I think we'd be okay. So yeah, these are going to be Chaos Guardsmen. So one of the things that kind of happens is that normal human beings don't withstand the powers of the warp very well. And once you're exposed to them, you kind of just go batshit nutty. And you get obsessed with things like chewing on people's faces, although not in like a sexy time way. Chewing on people's faces in really kind of the negative Ed Gein type way. Basically, it gets you into the kind of thing that would lead like Ed Gein at a loss. There we go. If I wanted to be, being a little bit poetic here. Yeah, that's right, mixing words. That's how we do it here at the Nerdcast. And those plasma guns are simply unacceptable. They are really sort of raining on my parade with plasma, which is so much worse than just normal rain on your parade. I need health, so I'm going to execute the hell out of this guy. And so we're going to drop stomp him with the thick end of the hammer. And there it is. We get ourselves back up to full health, which is good because I was feeling a little bit terrified about our prospective futures here. And not necessarily in just a stock exchange sort of way. Is that a skull lamp on the wall? Hold on, I need to go look at this. Okay, I was going to say they just put like an arbitrary skull lamp on the wall because it needs to be there. We don't really have a reason. We just kind of sort of like it. Oh, there's stairs over there. I walked right past that. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. Although all snakes don't bite, so I always felt like that saying was a little bit overambitious for what it attempts to accomplish. I mean, I do come from an area with lots of rattlesnakes. And so I guess it does sort of work, but we also have garter snakes and king snakes. I saw like a 5-foot king snake one time, no joke. It was the biggest snake I've ever seen in my life. You guys are running away from combat. Where's your commissar at? There you go. Hold that ground. Rally.
Where are they all coming from? Guardsman, report.
My Lord Space Marine. They were on us almost immediately.
Lieutenant, Space Marines are here. Captain Titus, are you there? This is Lieutenant Mira. This whole planet has gone mad.
The forces of chaos are invading this world. We must get to the Titan and destroy that warp gate.
I know what route to take. I deployed troops to man outposts between the Calcus facility and Bastion Primus. From there, you can access the rail network and cross to Manufactura Majakis.
Understood. I will meet you there.
And so now that we've heard from the lieutenant, as opposed to the right tenant, I guess. I'm the lieutenant. I'm the right tenant. The joke is now thusly concluded. God. I started this, in one of the first episodes I started to say this, and I looked up why people from, like, England, for example, say lieutenant, and people in the United States and from France say lieutenant. And there was actually a legitimate reason. It used to be spelled that way. The spelling was changed like 200 years ago, maybe. And so it's like old habits die hard. For example, it's like the correct spelling of aluminum is aluminium, but in the US we just say aluminum because it was misspelled in a science. Basically, we misspell aluminum here because the first time that we were exposed to aluminum, like when we found out about it in the scientific documentation, it was misspelled. It wasn't spelled aluminium, it was spelled aluminum. And so the next day in all the different newspapers and everything, they talked about this wondrous material called aluminum. And because it was misspelled in the scientific diary, it was misspelled everywhere else, and thus we started saying aluminum, and everybody else said aluminium. It's kind of the same situation. Everybody says lieutenant overseas, and we say lieutenant here in the States. And that's why, is because there was kind of a change in spelling. I don't know if it was one of those things that when Webster did his thing over here in the States, Webster got grumpy for, it was a politically trying time. Webster decided that he was grumpy with our friends overseas and that we decided to spell everything differently, and so just to kind of make life more complicated, he spent like the rest of his life making a dictionary that spelled everything differently than the way it was spelled from our colonial cousins. Or I guess we're the colonial cousins, and then they would be our colonial captains, I don't know, something. I don't know, it doesn't matter anymore. It's just kind of interesting how language changes depending on, like, one guy being grumpy and not liking the way that things were spelled, so he went and made his own dictionary, and we just kind of bought into it because we were in, like, a nationalistic fury. Interesting stuff there. Always interesting stuff to me. I don't like that I can still be damaged while I'm executing somebody. I want some kind of, like, Age of Conan shield while I execute people where I can't be hurt. And these evil guardsmen are now going to get themselves swatted. I don't see anything in here that I want to loot. I was really concerned that there might be a servo skull hidden in this big old battlefield. And I do remember this battlefield as being part of one of the co-op maps. I do remember fighting on this battlefield before, so I do sort of feel as though I know my way around slightly. This guy needs to go first because I don't want to be flanked. Oh no! Oh, that's awful. That's absolutely awful. What a rudimentary mistake to make. It's okay though, we're just gonna blast him as... Really? He has 2 execution periods? You'd think one would be enough. Now we want to pay attention and figure out... It's as though we've got a rocket launcher over there. And you guys know that my experience with rocket launchers has left me very, very sour against them. I'm gonna get rid of him, and I really want to make sure that my flanks are completely and totally secure before I advance. Because this game has that weird tendency to sneak up on you and really put you in between, like you're in the Iron Maiden, just surrounded by all kinds of punishment occurring. And then I also want to check all of these little nooks and crannies to make sure that we're not missing any treasure as we go along through the game. And so we're going to go up these stairs and we'll check the top floor while we're up here, just to make sure that things are looking nice and lovely. Still rockets being fired, which leads me to believe I haven't quite done my job yet properly. I'm gonna try and put headshots on all these guys. But that's always easier said than done for me. Alright, so that's been handled. We no longer have bombardment coming from the bridge. I don't need bombardiers ruining my life, even though a bombardier always sounds kind of jovial to me. Like, a bombardier sounds like the kind of guy that would come and give you candy. Like, he's kind of hefty. He has a big, like, bag full of truffles or something. Look, it's Bombardier! He's here to give us our lovely Christmas gifts. But, unfortunately, Bombardier is not the merry thing that it sounds like, and there's an explosive barrel up there, isn't there? That didn't work out at all. I was gonna say, and right about now, we should have rockets coming from that direction, which means, oh my god, Sergeant, I hate you so much. Get out of my way, you self-righteous turd. There we go. And so now that I'm safe, I'm really sort of regretting the fact that I can't use my snipey weapons. It's making me feel kind of scared. Feeling a little bit scared. So I need to get rid of him first. And now these guys down here. I'm going to try and strafe. Because that seems to be a good way to get rid of those rockets since they fall exactly on the spot that you were standing a moment before. But unfortunately, I've locked myself out of a lot of my weapons, which makes me not so great at long-range combat right now. I'm amazing at, like, mid-range to close range, but that long range is definitely eluding me. You guys can't get on the elevator. Nope, you're not welcome. Get off. Get off my elevator.
An orc invasion, and now the tender mercies of Chaos heretics. I'm surprised the place is standing at all.
It is true, the forces of chaos are typically kind of fond of breeding all over everything, and if they aren't breeding on top of it, they're murdering it and then breeding on top of it, or murdering it, then destroying it, then breeding on top of it. Really, you don't want to be caught up in a chaos ambush. It means terrible things are probably about to happen to your rectum.
How can we face them? The legions of chaos.
Trooper, get yourself together right now!
Yes, Mom.
The other platoons are going to fall back towards the bastion. Hold this position, or they'll be cut off. Greetings, Ultramarines.
What is your situation, Lieutenant?
As well as can be hoped, considering we are surrounded on all sides by the enemy horde. We're heading back to the command post, Captain.
Are you coming with me? Why are these two guys staying behind? I wouldn't do that if I was them. That's a terrible idea. I'd be like, listen, I'm going to be attached to your hip just like that power source. I'm going to be your new pauldron. Just like hanging out to help you out. As the closer I can be to the Space Marine, frankly, if you can fit me inside that armor with you, I'll just ride along, kind of like marsupial style. was gonna say, I thought it looked like the loving sight of rockets being leveled in my direction. I really wish that I hadn't taken the sledgehammer. I've made a mistake here. And the last time I tried to close ground with the enemy to use a melee weapon when they had loads and loads of rocket launchers, it didn't work out so well for me. And I was about minutes away from punching a hole in my monitor. So instead, I'm just gonna play the mid game here. And we're gonna try and take ground where we can take it from. I mean, if it seems easily lootable, then indeed we are gonna take a cue from our lootaboy friends over here. Fix him with an explosive. That worked out okay. And if I can use the explosive shot from my gun at all, I think it'll probably work out better for us. The plasma gun does seem to insta-give anybody that the projectile lands on. You'll forgive me. I always lose my train of thought while I'm sitting here in the midst of just a giant murderous spree. I've got to keep my brain clear so that I can attack in different directions. Aha! Glowy Skull of Goodness storyline.
I want to be strong, to say everything's alright, but it's not. The dead are everywhere. Stinking, rotting. We burn the bodies where we can, but the fire attracts more orks. If you stop and think about the billions dead here, you'll go mad. But no matter where you go, you find the people of this world. All dead. All waiting for help that never came.
Yeah, it definitely seems as though the situation for our Cockney friend is not going so well. Part of me is tempted to keep the Thunderhammer because it's the only thing I've seen so far that consistently takes out knobs. And whatever, I like it that much. We're just gonna risk our life sucking from now on. Although, honestly... No, we've got a couple minutes left. I was going to say, I feel as though it's probably time to break off the episode, but nope! You got a few more minutes left. Let's go ahead and get on in here and see what we can accomplish. I do feel as though...
It's gonna blow!
Ow. Now I'm deaf and battered. That's no fun. Oh my, they are everywhere down there. Oh, and they're behind us. That's fun. Try to do my best to kind of do like a grenade lobbing thing over here. There we go. That's the guy that I don't want to catch us on a catwalk right now at all. If he gets us on the catwalk, we're done. While typically some people aspire to be on the catwalk, I really just don't want to be on it at all. I'm not beautiful enough. I don't feel like this is the place for me. I'm kind of an ugly chud, and so we really have to go where we belong in society. You gotta be like, well, you know, I've got kind of like a nose thing going on, and then I got like facial scars and stuff. Obviously, they're never gonna put me on a runway. Because I'm simply not beautiful enough. I'm simply not beautiful enough. However, some people get to go, and that's pretty sweet for them. Although I've got to kind of wonder what psychological like background there's got to be. If you've spent your entire career just like being beautiful for a living, what happens when you start to get old and ugly? Like, how do you rectify that factor? Because really, it seems like your oh no! It seems like your personality would be sort of defined in that situation by the fact that you're good looking. Doesn't seem like a very healthy thing to do mentally. Maybe then again, maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Take that, Squig. A brute force solution. Literally. That guardsman's practicing his dance numbers in the middle. You never know. I mean, it is open casting call right now for the Imperial Guard musical, so sometimes you've got to learn to do like a little pirouette thing. I don't even know what that is, like a plie. Show me your plie! That seems incredibly dirty. I feel like if you walked up to somebody in a bar and you're like, show me your plie right now, it might end up with you in a jail cell. Oh no. Man, I've got a hammer. What am I saying oh no for? To hell... I don't even know what happened. I don't even know what happened to remember, man. How can I forget and forgive if I don't even know? I was at like half health and half shields, and all of a sudden I was no longer. God. How far back is that checkpoint? Oh, damn, they knocked us back pretty hard. Okay. And so needing to do the whole catwalk thing again, I suppose we'll go about 5 minutes in and then we'll break off the episode. I don't know. You guys will get an extra long episode simply because I don't even know what killed me right there to be dodged. I was getting all excited about hitting somebody with a sledgehammer, and then I guess they kind of, well... Ooh, 2 at once, I'll take it. So this time I'll be a little bit more careful. The game says cover is for weak, but I feel like they really are sort of lying to you in a certain respect there. Because you definitely need to take cover over the course of this game. If you just run out meleeing everything, it's really not going to end well for you. So now we're going to take the catwalk. I'm going to try and put as many grenades and explosives as I can on the end. And you guys came up from behind, which is not acceptable right now. And I've noticed the game throttles itself, which is really kind of a weird thing. When you're playing the game, it seems like the second that there's a certain amount of mobs on the screen, my FPS counter automatically drops down to 30 exactly, and it never adjusts from there. The game seems to have some internal frame rate lock that when the action gets kind of fierce, they just lock you in, and that's where you're at. And so now that there's not a certain amount of enemies, and I think it's a numerical count because it seems like once it goes beyond, maybe it's actually a polygon count, I don't know. But it definitely seems like there's a point where it cuts me from 60 down to 30 automatically whenever I get into combat. But in combat, you'll jump back up to 60, but there's no fluctuation, so I know it's not my computer doing it, it's the game doing it. Because you go from a stable 60 to a stable 30 every single time. It may be something in the options that I forgot to disable, like a frame lock or something. It was probably one of those squigs. That's my guess about what got me, if I had to make a rough guess. Yeah, you aren't going to win this fight, pal. I can tell you right now, this is a fight that is not going to go in your favors. Because I include party favors with all my fights, just in case you were wondering. Party favors known as bolters. Let's get it. Alright, so this time I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I think it's probably just like rockets. Like I probably got hit by like 2 rockets and a squig simultaneously. I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. Oh, never mind. I didn't even see that guy. So we've actually got a knob up top. Throw a grenade right there because I feel like it's probably where I'm going to be advanced on from. Get rid of the squig. Grab some cover until my shields get better. I think he's got like a big shooter or something, and that's really what's hurting me right now. So he may have showed up when I was in center field kind of fighting, and that may have been what happened too. I don't know. And of course, the last remnant of our foes over here who's remaining to be disintegrated. Lift over. Wow. I see ammunition off this way. Oh, the lift is behind us, so grenades. And then I want to find anything glowy because I think I'm going to break the episode off here. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here in the Nerd Castle for another episode of Warhammer 40k Space Marine.
I half expected to find a demon chewing on your bones.
Well, they'd spit me right out.
Anyways, if I can conclude my episode mirror, I will see you guys in the next episode. Hi-do and farewell from the Emperor.